Welcome everybody to the Firm of the Future with Michelle Long. That's me. This is part 2 of Getting on the Cloud. We're going to talk about streamlining the workflow today. Again, my name is Michelle Long. I am a CPA and the owner of Long for Success located in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm thrilled to say I'm an international speaker for Intuit, and I've had the privilege of talking to accountants and bookkeepers across the U.S. and other countries to help them learn more about QuickBooks Online. I'm also co-host of the QB Power Hour webinar series. I'd hope you join me for that. And then the LinkedIn group has over about 160,000 members now. It's a great resource when you have some questions about QuickBooks Online or anything else. So I'd encourage you to check that out and join us in the LinkedIn group or the Facebook group for QB Power Hour. Really glad to have you guys here today joining me. This is a part of the Firm of the Future webinar series. On Monday, we talked about getting on the cloud and where to start, learning about QuickBooks Online, the different versions of QuickBooks Online, and how to convert from desktop to online. Now, today, we're going to be talking about part 2, streamlining the workflows, things that can help you automate and streamline the process for you and your clients to do things faster and more efficiently in QuickBooks Online. Plus, we'll talk about some of the third-party apps that can help you with some of that as well. Then, on December 30th, I hope you'll register. You have to register separately for each one of these webinars. I hope you'll register for the Become a Trusted Advisor webinar. On that one, we're going to talk about things that will help you to add value to your clients. Today, you're going to see how these automation features really help you save tons of time when you're working with QuickBooks Online. And so as we're saving lots of time, more and more accounting professionals are moving to value pricing. If you're billing hourly, you're going to be making less money. So accountants are moving to value pricing. We're going to talk about how to do that in part 3 on December 30th. Again, you need to register for that one separately. Then part 4, we're going to do that one in January on the 15th. We're going to talk about some of the social media aspects and the Find Pro Advisor website, ways that you can get additional clients and do networking and use social media to help you get referrals and stuff. So I hope you will join me for these other webinars as well, and I'm really glad to have you guys joining me today. This webinar is eligible for 1 hour of CPE for each one of these live webinars. So if you attend all 4 live, you could earn up to 4 hours of CPE. During the webinar, I will provide you with a CPE keyword. I will say it 3 or 4 or 5 times, and it'll be on the screen for about a minute, maybe 2, while I look at a couple of questions and try to answer those. But you really need to be paying attention so you don't miss the CPE keyword. Then somewhere towards the end of the webinar, I will have a poll question. So you don't type it in, write it down and keep that CPE question or poll CPE keyword handy for the poll, and I'll ask you at that time to answer the poll question and enter the CPE keyword. Then your certificates will be emailed to you within about 3 weeks to the same email address that you used to register for this webinar. And then keep a copy for your records. And this webinar today is scheduled for about an hour and a half. Ideally, I'm going to cover most of the material during the first hour, maybe a little over, and then I'm going to allow lots of times for questions as well. I've got Woody helping to answer questions today. Woody works for Intuit. Thank you so much, Woody. And he's going to be answering questions throughout the webinar. And then periodically, I'll try to take a look at some of the questions and answer some of them verbally as well as saving time for questions towards the end of the webinar today. I do want to direct you to some additional resources, and I'll show you this in a little while where you can access it as well. But under the QuickBooks.com, if you go to Accountant Learn and Support under Accountants tab, that's where you can find a lot more information. I'm going to go in there and show you that in just a second. But I wanted to make sure that you had access to the links here. And then also the Firm of the Future website has a ton of great resources in it for value pricing, getting connected in social media, as well as QuickBooks Online and more resources there. So I'd encourage you to check both of those out. Let's actually get in there and let me show you real quickly how you can access all of that. So if you go to QuickBooks.com and you click on the Accountants tab, first of all, a couple of things that you probably want to do if you haven't already, and I'm going to mention this in just a second on the slide, is to sign up for QuickBooks Online Accountant. That is free for accounting professionals. If you haven't signed up yet for QuickBooks Online Accountant, and QuickBooks Pro Advisor program. That is free for QuickBooks Online. So I will encourage you guys to sign up for both of those. It is free, and it's a great benefit to you. But down here also, I want to point out the Accountants Learn and Support. If you click on Accountants Learn and Support, there's really great resources available for you. Under the Accountants University tab right here in the middle, this will take you into training and resources that are free that you can register for online webinars or some live training events. For example, today I'm in Irvine, California, and we're presenting QuickBooks Online Certification Prep. The first week of January, I'll be in Florida, down in Miami, Orlando, and Jacksonville. Love to have you join us there. But there's also online webinars, so you can register for those under Accountants University. Under the Accountants Resources, I wanted to make sure to point out to you this link here for Moving Clients Online. If you click the link for Moving Clients Online, you're going to find some great resources in there. As you scroll down, you'll see here's a 3-part guide for moving your clients online. I pointed this out last week, or on the last webinar, why choose online, how to convert, and then resources to help your clients move online. Later today, we're going to be talking about third-party apps and how those can help your clients streamline their processes. So I wanted to point out for you how you could find here specifically how QuickBooks Online can help some of your appointment-based clients, like maybe plumbers who have a more about how to set QuickBooks Online up, as well as have some third-party apps for these specific types of industries. So we'll get more in and talk about those third-party apps a little bit later. But I did want to kind of let you know about some of that and where that's available for right now. So some of our learning objectives for this webinar today is, first of all, we're going to talk about streamlining the workflow within QuickBooks Online with downloaded transactions and the bank rules, recurring transactions, and automated reports. All of these can save you lots of time. Now, if you've already gotten certified in QuickBooks Online, you may already know some of this, but hopefully I'll share some tips or tricks, or hopefully you'll learn something new. And it always that can help you streamline your process for getting documents from your clients. We'll talk about the QBO mobile app for smartphones and tablets and how it is very helpful, again, for streamlining our workflow. Then we're going to talk about some third-party apps that are available. Again, today's webinar is all about ways for us to streamline the workflow for us and for our clients to save time, help us be more efficient when we're working with clients, and also, in turn, that helps us to be more profitable. So some preliminary things, like I mentioned just a while ago, if you haven't already, please sign up for QuickBooks for the Pro Advisor program and QuickBooks Online Accountants. You can do those under the Accountants menu, like I just showed you at QuickBooks.com. Then also, really, I encourage people to get certified in QuickBooks Online. Once you sign up for the free Pro Advisor program, it's free to get certified in QuickBooks Online. If we're not coming to a city near you, you can do the online webinars, and I've got, again, another slide on that in just a second. And once you get certified, consider the advanced certification for QuickBooks Online. Just like there's an advanced certification for the desktop, there's now an advanced certification for QuickBooks Online. After you get certified in QuickBooks Online, you'll have access to those training materials and the training resources to help you learn a lot more about QuickBooks Online. So even if you can't do the advanced cert right now, you've got access to those training materials that are going to help you learning more about QuickBooks Online. So again, if you are not certified yet, there's online webinars and resources under Accountants University where you can sign up for an online prep course, certification preparation. That will help you learn what you need to know and get certified. So check those out. Again, those are all free resources. So first of all, let's talk about how everything is changing from data management to data entry. And we talked last webinar about how the industry has changed, how technology is changing our workflow. We are no longer, as accountants and bookkeepers, most of us are no longer doing data entry. There is no need to sit there and enter all the credit card charges for the month or all the bank transactions. You know, we now are able to download these transactions, and we're able to set up bank rules. These save us a ton of time. So I actually want to go into QuickBooks Online here, and let's show you how the downloaded transactions and bank rules work and how they can save you lots and lots of time. So I am in QuickBooks Online in this sample company, Craig's Design and Landscaping. Under transactions, let's go in and look at the banking area for the downloaded transactions and workflow. So right in here, you'll see you can set up multiple accounts. And when we talk about bank feeds and bank rules, it applies to credit cards like MasterCard and Visa and Amex, just like it does with your checking account and your savings account. So you can set up all the accounts that you need, and then it'll download transactions for you every night while you're sleeping. The transactions that cleared will come through and be waiting for you to process them here under the New Transactions tab. So you can see on this checking account, we have 25 transactions that have been downloaded. They're all listed under the New Transactions tab. Right now, I don't have anything in QuickBooks because I haven't posted or added or matched anything yet. In a little bit, I'll show you how they move over there. We also don't have any excluded transactions. Right now, everything's under New Transactions. So one of the first things you want to do is you'll see there's all transactions is 25, and there's 14 recognized transactions. So one of the first things I always do is go in and look at all the recognized transactions. You'll notice on here we've got the deposits have matched, checks, bill payments, a regular payment. We've also got sales receipts that it matched. QuickBooks will look and try to see if the amount is the same, and it'll also look to see if the date is a close date. So based on the amount and the date, it will try to suggest, hey, we think these things are a match. So you can review all of those. If they are a match, I could go ahead and select all of them, batch, accept, all in one fell swoop. And then I had a couple that were on the second page. I can accept those, batch, accept the selected. So you can see how quickly I just processed and went from 25 transactions down to 9 remaining transactions. Because think about it, a lot of your clients' transactions, they're the same thing every month. The same rent, the same utilities, the same bill for the website hosting. They use the same vendors and suppliers. So being able to process them quickly and efficiently really saves you a lot of time. So it will look for those matches and try to say, hey, this is a match. Now, in this instance, the squeaky clean car here, the car wash, it's a gray one. It says match under gray. So it's saying here that it thinks this is a match. So again, transactions that are already in QuickBooks, it will recognize and say this is a match. So you're not adding a new, you're not doing a duplicate, you're matching it to an existing transaction in QuickBooks, and then it's marking it as cleared, so when you go to do the bank rec, it's basically done. So on this one, the reason it's a gray match instead of a green, when I select that, it says there are 2 transactions for the same exact amount, close to the same date. We're not sure which one of these we should match it to. Okay, so you're not sure which one to match it to. In here, it's saying you decide which one should be a match. So I could choose to put this to the cash purchase instead of the check debit, and I could go ahead and match. Again, I'm not adding new. I'm matching it to a transaction that's already in QuickBooks. So these other ones that are left now, we've got 8 remaining. These are not in QuickBooks yet, and it didn't find a match. Okay, so they haven't been posted. It's not recognizing it as a transaction that's already in QuickBooks. Maybe, though, you think it is a transaction that's in QuickBooks, you could go look for it. Like on this A rental here that we received, $200, if I think that should be in there, and this is especially true when you have a partial payment or a partial receipt. So for example, I have $200 that was a deposit here. If I click Find Match, it will show me open invoices, open payments, or payments that I could have matched it to, or if I had a sales receipt, it could show me that. Because maybe this invoice here for $750, maybe they made a partial payment of just $200. So I could come out here and select to And I also wanted to show you on money that was spent. So let's look at this Mahoney Mugs where we spent money. If it's money that was going out, when I click Find Match, it will show me transactions that are in QuickBooks that I can match it to, like a bill or an expense or a check, or if I had bill payments, I might be able to match it to that. So let's say you had already written a check and you entered it in QuickBooks. When it's clearing the bank, you can match it to that transaction. So you've got the option to match existing transactions, or we can do, and I have lots of them to work with, I sort by description instead of date because I want all the ones that are the same to be together. So you can see I spent $800 on a rental and I spent $1,200 on a rental. Let's say I work with them a lot, I buy a lot of stuff from them, I spend a lot of money there, it's one of these things that I have every single month. I can then set a rule up for these things so that it's going to automatically apply a rule. Now I want you to notice one's $800 and one's $1,200. We're going to keep that in mind as we set up this rule. So I can scroll up to the top right next to where it says Update, and I can click on Manage Rules. Again, you'll want to set rules up for things that you have every single month, like your rent expense, like your telephone bill, the gas bill, the electric bill, your vendors that you buy from all the time, like a rental, or maybe Staples because you go there all the time. You set up rules for things that you use frequently so that you're automating that process. So let's go ahead and click on New Rule here to create a rule for a rental. So I'm going to give it a name, A Rental. And so you give it a name. Do you want this to be for money out or money in? And do you want it to be for one bank account or all of your bank accounts? And I'm going to say when the bank text contains the name A Rental. I don't want to say when it is exactly because sometimes you have things that are like, you know, 7-Eleven store number 92, 7-Eleven store 189. So you want to say when it contains a rental, not match exactly. So contains. I also could add an additional line and say when the amount is less than a certain dollar amount. So in this example, I'm going to say $1,000 because we had $800 and $1,200. But a good example of where you might use that would be, let's say, Staples. I could say when the bank text contains Staples and the amount is less than $300, I want you to put it to Staples for the payee name and assign it to office supplies. If it's more than $300, I don't want the rule to apply because I want to look at that transaction. It could be a fixed asset. So you can say if the amount is less than a certain dollar amount, go ahead and apply this rule and assign a payee name and a category or an expense account. But otherwise, I want to look at that. So you need to keep in mind, do you want the transaction to meet any of these criteria or all of these criteria? So in this example, I want it to be all. I want it to be a specific vendor name or a payee name and less than or equal to a certain amount. So I'm going to say if it meets both of these or all of these criteria. Then down here is where you can assign a payee name. So I want it to go to Ellis Equipment Rental, and I want it to go to Equipment Rental Expense Account. So you're setting up the criteria up here, and then you're telling it what payee name to use and what account you want it to post to. And then you actually could split this if you wanted to have it go to more than one account. Like let's say, for example, it's meals and entertainment, and you want 50% to be deductible, 50% non-deductible. You could set that up as well. Now, when you go ahead and save this rule, I now have a rule that's going to apply to my transaction. So when I go back to my bank and credit card activity, you can see it applied the rule for the first transaction because it was less than $1,000. It did not apply that rule to the second one because it was over that. So now your rules are going to be green, just like it suggested things that were a match. You can set up rules to automatically control the payee name and the account. So you're automating probably 90% of the transactions that your clients have every month because most of the time it's the same stuff every single month. That makes things a lot faster. And then I could go ahead and click Add. So this is going to add that as a new transaction, particularly for debit card purchases, for credit card charges. You don't have to enter these things automatically. You can, from this bank rule, add those transactions. So you don't have to enter them into QuickBooks manually. You don't have to go through and enter credit card charges. You download them and add them, and it will post them. Once you've added or matched things, it's going to show it on this In QuickBooks tab. That means you added or matched. See how this first one here was added and the others were matched? Because the other ones were already in there, we were matching it. Or you can add it. And so it's really great to be able to go through and do these things very quick and very easy. Now, on this next one, if I wanted to change that, I click on that drop-down list. I can choose my payee name. Maybe I didn't want to go to equipment rental. Maybe I wanted that to go to an asset or something like that because it was over a certain dollar amount. I could come up here and put it to the truck. Maybe we actually bought a truck or something. You can now choose whether it's billable or not, and you can apply it to a particular customer or job. So you can set the billable and customer job out here as well. So then I could go ahead and add that transaction. So you would go through and continue working with these transactions here, continue to add them and get them into QuickBooks or set up bank rules. So your first month or so that you're working with this, you're going to spend more time because you're setting these bank rules up. It's going to take a little bit of time, but after the first month, you're going to come in here and lots of the transactions, probably 80–90% of them will be recognized. You can review them, and like I showed you earlier, quickly select them all and do a batch accept and get all of those posted. Then you're only dealing with a handful that you need to take a look at and determine what to do. So again, we're not doing data entry anymore. We're doing data management, and I absolutely just love how much time this saves us. Instead of things taking 20–30 hours a month to do stuff, you now can get this done in 2 or 3 hours. I mean, it's going to save you huge amounts of time. That's one of the reasons why people are moving to value pricing. So that's a big reason why people are moving to value pricing, is because things are saving us so much time. Now, somebody had a question, what about sales tax? I'm guessing that question came from somebody in Canada, and we're very glad to have you joining us from Canada, the UK, Australia, or other countries where you have GST, HST, PST, VAT tax. You've got to separate the tax on purchases, and so it is very important to you. You have a tax column, and you can set up the tax code in the rules just like you need to. In the U.S., though, we don't break ours out separately, so you're not seeing that field because I'm in the U.S. version of QuickBooks Online. Okay, so keep that in mind. Bank rules work like the accounts tracking from the desktop under vendor preferences. A little bit, Rebecca, you're right. In the desktop, you can set up vendor preferences where you specify what account you want it to go to, but that's still, you have to enter the vendor name to have that pull up. So QuickBooks Online, the downloaded transactions are way better than the desktop. And I've worked with the desktop for years. I started teaching desktop in 1999. I very rarely use the desktop anymore. And the downloaded transactions in the desktop, I don't like, and I don't think they're as user-friendly and as powerful as in QuickBooks Online. I really love the stuff here in QuickBooks Online. Somebody said, can the category be auto-filled based on the payee that is input? You can have it auto-recall things, and it can auto-recall based on what you did last time. The problem with that is your clients, if they do it wrong, it's going to keep coming up wrong. And so I like to use the rules because I think the rules provide more control and they're more powerful. And you can always edit the rule and change the rule if you need to. So what I usually do with my client is I will do the downloaded transactions the first month so that we're getting things set up correctly. Because if you've got it auto-recalling and they do it wrong the first month, they're going to keep doing it wrong and continue doing it wrong. So that's a good one there. Somebody says, but what about the bill? Okay, so if you have entered a bill into QuickBooks, the question is whether you then enter the bill payment or how did you pay it? Did you write a check? If you entered the bill payment, you can then, it will match just like some of those that we had over here. some of these match. See how it says it matched it to a bill payment right here. So it will match things based on the amount and based on the date if you've already entered it into QuickBooks. So again, we can match existing transactions or we can add new transactions if they're not in there already. So there's really a lot of flexibility depending on your client and how they're using QuickBooks and how they're entering things. So keep some of that stuff in mind. Now, another thing that's really cool, let's say your client went through here, matched a whole bunch of these. I mean, let's say they did it all wrong. It's like, oh my goodness, look at what my client did. All of these are wrong. Well, the really cool thing, so in QuickBooks means it has been added or matched. I can click to select all of these, batch, undo. Now, when I do that, watch, because right now there's 6 transactions that are new waiting for me to deal with them. As soon as I do batch, undo, it moves them all back over here to my new transactions. I now have 25 of those again. So you can undo them if you need to. Now, let's say your client converted from desktop to online and they already downloaded lots of transactions and they already have them in QuickBooks. We don't need all of these transactions here. That's an example of where I suggest you sort by date. And then I could say all of these from, October through, maybe November 15th, we've already got. I don't need these transactions. They're duplicates. I could click batch, exclude, and it will move them over here to the excluded tab because those are things that we already had in QuickBooks. They were already reconciled. I don't need these. These are duplicates. I could select all of them and do a batch delete to get rid of them now. So I encourage you to work with the downloaded transactions. Come in here and play with them. Get a better understanding of how they work. Again, this is covered in the certification materials as well. So if this is all new to you, go in there, play with it in the sample company, the test drive. Go through the certification, and you'll learn a lot more about that because it's a huge way to automate and streamline your workflow, saving you tons of hours every single month. Then the other thing, oops, let me give you the CPE keyword. Okay, the CPE keyword is wreath. Do you have a wreath up for the holidays? Wreath. This looks like a wreath made out of pine trees or needles or evergreen stuff. Wreath, wreath, wreath. Okay, so answer the question on wreath. All right, so write down wreath and later you'll answer the poll question with the word wreath. Okay, wreath, wreath, wreath. All righty, so make sure you write down wreath. I've said it at least 3 to 5 times, and I'm looking on here to see if there's any questions I need to answer. And Woody says he's flagged one for me. Thank you, Woody. Any suggestion on methodology to track use tax? So if you purchase an out-of-state product, tax-free, then you have to report the purchase on your monthly sales and excise tax return. So one of the things that you could do, Lee, let's say you always order your office supplies out of state. Okay, so you could set up 2 accounts, one for office supplies in state, one for office supplies out of state. Let's say you always order them online and have them shipped and you don't pay sales tax. So you could set up a separate account so that you post those expenses to that account, and then you would know what you need to include on your sales or excise tax return for your use taxes. So that's one method that would allow you to do that. So hopefully that helps. Thank you for flagging that. Somebody said that's the methodology I've used. Well, good. We're on the same thought there. Very good. Okay, if you change a rule, does it change previously matches? And Wendy's answered that, no. So if you've already added or matched a transaction and you create a rule, it does not affect things that have already been added or matched. If you create a rule like I just did with the A-rental, it will apply that rule to those things sitting in new transactions for you. So hopefully that will help a little bit. All right, last call to write down wreath, W-R-E-A-T-H, wreath. Okay, one more thing. Gosh, what was I just going to show you and tell you? Now I can't forget. Oh, the other thing I was going to show you real quickly, and I'll do it when I get into there, is I wanted to show you how when you go into reconcile the bank account, all those things are already marked as reconciled, although I undid them all. I'd have to redo them all. I'll still show you that really quickly. I also want to show you some other things that are helping you automate the process with QuickBooks Online, and some of these are different than the desktop that you cannot do in the desktop. but yet it can save us or our clients lots of time. We'll talk about recurring transactions, and then the sales receipt and how to set up a recurring credit card charge, and then some automated reports. And so I'm going to go in and show you all that. But first, let me show you. Let me go ahead and select all these recognized and add a whole bunch of these, batch, accept. Then I wanted to show you when I go into reconcile my bank account, and I'm going to click on my shortcut here on my bookmark bar. So I'm going to click on reconcile. When you go into reconcile the bank account, all of those transactions that you have downloaded and added are matched. I'm going to put in H for the statement ending date, put in a quick balance. All those things that you added or matched from downloaded transactions, they're already going to be marked off as having cleared. So once you've got things all set up, it'll mark all of those as being cleared already. So really the bank rec is reconciling throughout the month as you add and match transactions. Then you come in here and you review. Most of the time everything's already marked off as having been matched and the difference will be 0. So reconciling is a breeze, saving you lots and lots of time. Now, let's go in and talk about recurring transactions. So I'm going to go look at some recent transactions, see if I can find an invoice. I don't see one there real quickly. Let me go into my customers, and let's find some overdue invoices. I'm going to open up an invoice here, and you can make several transactions recurring. I could make an invoice recurring. I could make a check. If I have the rent payment every single month, I could set up a rent check and have it be recurring, or an expense could be recurring. So you can set up things to be recurring transactions. This is similar to memorized transactions in the desktop with one big exception, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. So under Make Recurring, I'm going to click on Make Recurring at the bottom of that transaction. In the middle of the bottom, you click on Make Recurring. So for Amy's Bird Sanctuary, do I want this to be scheduled or unscheduled, or do I want it to remind me? I want this to be a scheduled invoice. And this is great for clients that, like, let's say a fitness center where they have monthly membership dues, a daycare center where they have weekly tuition, anything where it's the same thing every certain period, every month, every week, every day, whatever it is, you can specify your period here. So I'm going to choose every month on the 10th day of the month. Do I have a start date or an end date? I can choose that as well. And then this is where the magic really happens. If they're working with unbilled charges, like they're entering delayed charges and credits, do you want to automatically invoice those unbilled charges every month like you specified? That can save a ton of time. Also, this is the really big difference between recurring transactions in QuickBooks Online and memorized transactions in the desktop. In QuickBooks Desktop, when you create a memorized transaction, you actually have to open the QuickBooks file for it to create that transaction. With QuickBooks Online, when I create a recurring invoice and I tell it to automatically send the emails, not only will it automatically create that invoice, it will also email the invoice to the customer or the client for you, and you don't ever have to log into QuickBooks to do anything. You don't log in at all. You could be sitting on the beach in Hawaii like I was last week. Woohoo, that was great. I love presenting in Honolulu. It was awesome. But I could be on the beach with a little drink with a little umbrella in it. It will automatically send these things out just like you've scheduled them to do. You don't have to log in and do anything. Again, this can be a huge time saver for us and for our clients. So you can set up recurring invoices. I'm going to go ahead and save that template. And you can set up those recurring transactions. You can see a list of them under the gear, and under your list, you'll see recurring transactions. Now, what if not only do I want to send them an email or an invoice every month, I want to actually charge their credit card every month. What you can do in that situation is go in and you're going to create a sales receipt, because we're going to be getting paid at the time of the sale. So it will create the sales receipt. So you choose your customer, whoever it is, put in the details. Under the payment method, you can choose Visa or MasterCard. Now this is assuming that you've got QuickBooks Payments turned on, so you can get paid online. Again, that's another great way to save time and get paid faster, is using QuickBooks Payments. It's kind of like Intuit Merchant Service in the desktop, but it's QuickBooks Payments for QuickBooks Online. So I would put in here either Visa or MasterCard. Unfortunately, you cannot set it up to debit their bank account or do an automatic ACH. You can only do an automatic credit card charge. So you can set up recurring credit card charges. I would need to enter the credit card details right here and indicate where do you want the money to go to. Do you want it to go into undeposited funds? So you can set up recurring sales receipts to automatically charge their credit card every month, every week, whatever it is. Obviously, you need to get the client to sign an authorization form for that. Once you sign up for QuickBooks Payments in kind of the merchant service area in there, there's a form for you to download authorizing you to charge that account on an ongoing basis. This is where lots of accounting professionals are doing this now. Why should we invoice our clients and then wait for them to pay us, especially if you're doing the same bookkeeping and payroll every month? Let's say it's $1,000 a month. Set up a recurring sales receipt, automatically charge their account every month. I mean, you pay for everything at the time of service. When you go get your oil changed, you pay at the time of service. You go to the dentist or the doctor, you got to pay a copay at the time of service. We should be automatically charging our clients at the time of service. So go through, get your clients to sign an authorization form, and you can set this up to be a recurring charge. Again, saving lots of time, and we can use this as well as our clients as well. Another really cool feature that saves a lot of time is when it comes to reports. Let's say I go in and I create a monthly profit loss for my client. Oh no, I forgot to turn off, doggone it. Okay, so what that did to me, I'm going to go log in back into the sample company over here. What happens is in the sample company right now, there is a little glitch with the reports. You have to turn off the redesigned reports under the QuickBooks Lab to get that to work. And guess who forgot to do that? Me. So let me go in here and go under QuickBooks Labs. Let me scroll down to redesigned reports and turn it off and click done. And yes, there we go. Oops, I didn't want to give them feedback. Sorry, not this time. Click done to close that. Now let's go back over to my reports. Let's create a profit and loss report. Let's say I want to do a monthly profit and loss for my client. I can come out here and customize this. Let's change the date to this year, and let's change my columns to monthly because I want a monthly profit and loss for my client. Let's run the report. So you can create a report that you want to send to your client on a regular basis. And I customized one. You may just take the collections report that you want to send to your client on a regular basis. But what you need to do is actually save the customization of that report. So change it for what you need, save it, and so under here, profit and loss, I'm going to call it monthly, and I can add this report to a group. I'm going to call it monthly. I could also share this with other users if I wanted to, but I actually want to send this to my client every month. Or maybe you want to send something to your client every week. Maybe they don't log into QuickBooks like they should. Once you've created the report and customized it, now you'll find it under My Custom Reports. And out here is where you can then schedule these to be automatically emailed to your client. So you could have some monthly reports that you email to them every month. You could have some weekly reports. Maybe you send them a sales report and the collections report to stay on top of their outdated, overdue invoices and stuff. Maybe you're sending them some things weekly. You can have various groups, and then what you want to do is schedule it. So I'm going to come over here to the end where it says Edit on the far right, and I'm going to go in here and say Set the email schedule for this group. So you check the box and then click the blue Edit Schedule. I want to edit the schedule. How often do I want this to go out to my client? Daily, weekly, monthly, maybe twice a month? Maybe I want this to go not on the first day of the month because I need to reconcile the accounts and make sure all the transactions were downloaded and added or matched. Maybe I want to do it by the 10th day of the month just to make sure everything's done. How often do you want to send it? Or you could say end after a certain number of occurrences. Let's say you're sending reports automatically to the board of directors for a nonprofit organization. I could say end after 12 occurrences. Maybe they're on a 12-month term. Or I could say stop after a certain date. So you can control the date range there. So when do you want to send it, and when do you want to end, or is there no end date? Then you simply put in there the email address. I'm going to do @abc.intuit.com, and that's not even spelled right. Monthly reports, and what do you want the note to say? Please call with questions. So you can set this up, and then if you wanted to attach the reports as an Excel file, you can do that as well. Once I set this up and tell it to email these reports every month or every week or whatever, and I say save, not only does it automatically create them, it automatically emails them. Your client gets them in their email so that they can quickly look at it, especially like at a collections report. They can quickly look at that report in their email. They don't have to log into QBO and go create these reports. Huge time saver, and they usually go out like in the middle of the night. So let's say your client gets that report at 2 or 3 in the morning, and they're like, man, Michelle, you sent that in the middle of the night. You were really working hard. I'm like, hey, anything for you. You know, I work hard for you. You don't need to let the clients know how quick it was to do that. And these are some of the ways that you can add value for your clients. Some of these we were going to talk about next week on adding value for your clients. This is something that's very little. It takes very little to do, but it really is adding value for your clients, streamlining the workflow, saving us lots of time, and saving your clients from logging in to look at these reports. So again, a great way to streamline the workflows for you. Now, I see a question that we had come in here. Thank you, Woody, for flagging them and answering lots of them. It says credit card charges net of bank fee. How do you record those? So one of the things, Stephen, that I recommend is that you sign up for QuickBooks Payments, because when you're using QuickBooks Payments, they can pay you online. They'll click the Pay Now button, and it will automatically record the payment, apply it to the invoice, and it will automatically record those fees as well. If you're not using QuickBooks Payments, then you've got to enter that manually. So you would receive payment for the full amount, and then on another line, you need to put like service fees, credit card service fees as a negative amount, so the net amount comes out to the right amount. So you're going to have to do a lot more work, especially if you have a lot of credit card transactions that can be more cumbersome. You might want to talk to whoever your card provider is, see if they can take the fees out monthly instead of out of every single transaction, or consider switching to QuickBooks Payments, where everything's fully integrated and those fees will be automatically recording, again, saving you lots of time, you and your clients lots of time. Okay, so very good. So let's see, can you set up recurring transactions annually? Yes, Christine, you could do that. If there's not an option for annual, you could just do monthly every 12 months. Just like quarterly, you could do monthly every 3 months, so that you can do that as well. Okay, Woody's answering questions again. Great, Woody. Thank you so much for your help there. I'm going to go ahead and get back in here, and we're going to talk about a couple of other things now on some streamlining of the workflow when it comes to attached documents as well as document requests. So first we're going to talk about the document requests and how we can request certain things from our clients. So I need to get back over into QBOA over here, so I'm going to have to sign in again. Because when you sign into the sample company from QBOA, it will log you out. So I'm logging back in here real quickly to my QuickBooks Online Accountant area, and that is your dashboard where you have access to all of your clients, and you've got alerts and things like that on your QBOA dashboard. Again, if you haven't signed up for this yet, you really should sign up for QBOA, QuickBooks Online Accountant. So for example, we're talking about documents and how we can save time working with documents and stuff. I love the document request feature that's available in QuickBooks Online Accountant. So over here to the far right column, see where it says Other and Requests, and I've got 10 open requests for cloud collaboration, and I've only received 2 of the 22 documents that I've requested. So you can monitor the status of things right here, but best of all, you don't have to go out to your email and say, hey, can you send me this? And then it comes back in your email, and you got to worry about getting it to the team members and all that. Right here, I can see requests that I've sent out to my clients, what has come back, when's it due. I can manage all of this right here rather than going out to your email and everything. So I can quickly see things that are in green that the client has returned, things that are in red that I have not received yet. So to send a new request to a client, up here in the top where it says new request, I click on that new request, and I'm going to choose a user. I'm going to send this to MB Raimondi. She's down there presenting for me and taking care of the group while I'm up here with this webinar today. Thanks, MB. Under the due date, you always got to give your clients a due date, because if you don't, they probably just won't send it back, right? Let's say I want it by next Tuesday. So I'll put a due date in there, give it a subject, need stuff. Obviously, you would be a little nicer and type up something better. Please send me this info. And then you can indicate what you need from them, like a bank statement or a credit card statement, maybe a signed engagement letter, maybe it's a truck purchase agreement. What documents do you need from your client? And you can add more documents on here as needed. Over here is an example on the right side of what the email is going to look like. Then when I click send the request, your client gets an email from you, and they can click on attachment, which allows them to quickly and easily upload those documents that you've requested from them. And when they upload those, they're going to be available in QBOA. So it's, again, it's not going out to your email and trying to track and monitor things over there. You're monitoring all of this from within QuickBooks Online Accountant. Once the documents come in, if you click on documents, you can see here's documents that have been uploaded, and these will be shared with all of your team members in your firm who have access to that client. So in this example, Cloud Collaboration has 20 team members that have access to this client. So those clients that are working on this client will have access to the documents that they need to do their job and to get the work done. So you can set up those team members in QBOA, giving people access to only the clients that they are working on. So again, love some of these features. And again, on your client dashboard, you would be able to monitor. Now you can see it went from 10 requests. I've got 11 open requests. And now I've got 2 out of 25 documents that I haven't gotten back. So it allows you to monitor things. It's all in one convenient location. Again, helping us to work faster and more efficiently rather than going out to your email and all that stuff. So these are just some things that I love that Intuit has built for us. Now, a couple of other things for streamlining the workflow when it comes to documents, because you can attach documents to transactions. So you can attach a picture of a receipt. You can attach an Excel expense report to an invoice. You can attach documents to transactions within QuickBooks. The other thing that's really, really cool, and you've got to teach your clients how to do this, is attaching documents on their cell phone, on their mobile device. So let's say your client went out and spent $50 cash. They went to the hardware store, or in this example, they paid Bridget Deliveries $50. So they paid Bridget $50. They can click on expenses. So this is a screenshot of their mobile app. Here on the left, they would click on expenses. They click the plus there to add a new expense. They can come over here. They can indicate that I paid $50. How did you pay for it? Check, credit, or other. Maybe I paid cash. Which account do you want it to come out of? Who was the vendor or the payee? Bridget's Deliveries, the date, the location if you wanted to. Whoops. Which account do you want it to go to? Was it a particular client? A certain class that you need it to go to? So they can provide all of these details right there in that QBO app on their phone. Then they also can click to take a picture. Take a picture of that receipt. Once they click Save up here, it's now going to be loaded into QuickBooks Online under Recent Transactions. You'll see it along with the attachment of that receipt, that picture that they took. So as they go to the hardware store and they buy job materials and supplies, teach them to use this little app to take a picture of it, and it's automatically going to be syncing and recording the transaction and the attached receipt in QuickBooks Online. That is fabulous. Again, huge time saver and way to streamline the workflow. But wait, that's not all. There's more, and it gets better. So the QBO app is one option. That's included free with your subscription. All you have to do is download the QBO mobile app to your iPhone or your Android device, your Samsung, your tablet, whatever. You download the QBO mobile app to be able to use that. It's included in your subscription. However, it gets even better. we've got all kinds of third-party apps out there. There's like over 1,400 third-party apps that are now available that integrate with QuickBooks Online. So you can go find apps, not just for recording expenses, and I got a good one I'm going to share with you on that in just a second, but you can record these, you have things for recording expenses, you have apps to help when it comes to time tracking, you've got apps to help with sales taxes, CRM if you need that, you've got scheduling things, like if you got plumbers out in the field and you want to schedule them, there's a jobber app. I mean, there's all kinds of apps for every kind of function. Anywhere your client is having a pain point, where they're doing things manually out in the field, or they're entering it in Excel, or they're writing it down, and then they got to come back into the office, somebody has to enter it in QuickBooks, any of those are perfect opportunities for you to appify the processes. Get a third-party app that's going to help them streamline their workflow, reduce duplicate data entry, and automatically integrate with QuickBooks. So once you start looking for third-party apps, you're going to want to check the reviews, go look at the reviews that are recent reviews for that app, use the free trial. All the apps that are at apps.com do have some kind of free trial. Might be 7 days, 14 days, might be a month. Check out the free trials. There are webinars out there. I know with QB Power Hour, we do webinars on various third-party apps. On my YouTube channel, there's webinars on third-party apps. There's videos that the third-party apps will put out there, and they do webinars as well. Go ask in the QB Power Hour Facebook group or the LinkedIn group, have you used T-Sheets? What do you think of it? Will T-Sheets work for a client like this? Post your questions out there, and your peers are a lot of times very happy to share and be able to help answer those questions for you and stuff like that. So let's talk about some of the apps that have special offers if you're a pro advisor. And a lot of the apps do have special offers for pro advisors, but these four in particular have partnered with Intuit to have specials for pro advisors. Fathom, which is a reporting app, it's relatively new here in the U.S., but Fathom has been around down in Australia and New Zealand for several years now. Receipt Bank. So Receipt Bank is really cool. It also has been around for a while, but just recently in the U.S. Well, not just recently, but it's been longer in other countries. So you know how I told you the QBO mobile app, you can take a picture of your receipt and enter the transaction? With Receipt Bank, you can take a picture of your receipt and it scans and reads it. It does OCR. You don't have to put in the date, the payee name. You don't have to put in the sales tax amount, those of you in Canada and other countries. It will scan and read things and allocate the purchase, the sales tax. You can set up which accounts you want things to post to. It's really streamlining and automating that process. So that's even easier than that QBO mobile app that I showed you. So again, check out Receipt Bank. They have some special offers. I believe they offer us a free subscription as pro advisors. Bill.com, great way to manage your accounts payable, especially if you have clients that want you to do accounts payable and you want the client to approve the payment. They're able to log into Bill.com or use the app to look at the bills, to approve the payment. You can route them to different people for approval processes. It really helps with internal controls. Lots of nonprofit organizations like to use Bill.com. So check it out. Again, we can get a free subscription with Bill.com. And T-Sheets is awesome for time tracking. If you've got employees and workers out in the field and out and about, T-Sheets is an awesome mobile app to let them enter their time. It even can do GPS tracking and all kinds of really amazing stuff. Again, you can get T-Sheets, a free account with T-Sheets as a pro advisor. And with T-Sheets, Bill.com, some of these third-party apps will offer certification programs. You could be a certified T-Sheet advisor, certify in various programs out there. So check some of those out because they're really amazing third-party apps that are out there and great offers for us. A lot of them do offer some things that may not be listed here. But a lot of them do offer special discounts, promotions, partnership agreements with pro advisors. So you just have to check all of them out. A few of them that I wanted to mention specifically that I think you guys will love. I mentioned Receipt Bank already. There's also Expensify. I'll show you that in just a minute. With Expensify, you can do the same thing where you take a picture of that receipt and it will smart scan it for you. It reads it with OCR. HubDoc is something really cool as well. You know how I showed you how you could do a document request in QuickBooks Online Accountant? Well, that's kind of cumbersome where you have to send the request to the client. Please send me the bank and credit card statements every month. I'll send you a request and I'll wait for you to send them back to me. HubDoc, in addition to doing other document management, can actually fetch and download the bank and credit card statement for you. So every month when that bank statement or credit card statement is available, it's going to pull it in and be available for you there, so you don't have to go log into the bank or credit card account to get it. You don't have to ask for it from your client. It's pretty cool and a big time saver, especially if you're doing this for lots of clients. Let's say you got 30 clients each and they each have 2 accounts. You know, that takes a lot of time to go get all the statements that you need for reconciling versus HubDoc pulling that down and having it available for you automatically. Then ShareFile is a great secure client portal. Again, it also has document management stuff if you do need to send things back and forth. If you want to make things available to your client where they can log in and get access to things as well, ShareFile is great to take a look at that. And we already mentioned Bill.com as well. So again, Expensify is for recording expenses, and it's one of those that will do that OCR where you're able to take that picture of it. You can also enter things manually out there if you need to. But see how you can go through and you can assign categories or tags to things. So you can indicate every time I go to, you know, rock bottom, that should go to meals and entertainment. So you can see how you can specify your categories out there and things like that. And again, it can read those receipts. So you don't have to rely on your client to enter the vendor name or to enter the amount and get the right category and stuff like you do when they enter it on their mobile app. So check out Expensify, and then also HubDoc that I mentioned. You can set up your bank account, and in there's where it's going to start downloading all of these transactions automatically for you and downloading those bank statements automatically for you. But you also can have it upload a receipt. So you could, let's say you purchased Delta. You know, I get airfare airline tickets from Delta all the time. I could upload my Delta receipts from there. You could also use a mobile app. So again, it's document management that will integrate with QuickBooks Online. It can also integrate with Bill.com, and you can back it up to ShareFile. So there's lots of really cool third-party apps over and above what you can do with QuickBooks by itself. So that's why I wanted to kind of show you, here's things you can do in QuickBooks or QuickBooks Online Accountants. Those things are all included and free. These third-party apps, some of them you pay for, some of them will give you a free account as a pro advisor. But even if you do pay for the subscription, the amount of time that it's going to save you and your clients can be really huge. So a lot of times it might be worth the $10 a month because it's going to save you way more than that in time when it comes to working with some of these. Okay, so see if there's any questions in there. Which is a good app to log into a client's account? So I'm not sure if you want to log into their bank account. You don't need an app. When they're using QuickBooks Online, you log in with your username and password. They log in with their username and password, and you're both working in the same file. If you're talking about getting to the client's bank account, I usually set up the bank feeds with them doing remote access. So I want to watch them set the bank feed up. And so when I do the bank feed, I will watch them set it up using something like GoToMeeting, LogMeIn, Join.me is a free remote access feature there. So you can use some of those things for remote access. Now, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do the poll question, actually, because I see we're at the top of the hour, and even though we've set this to be an hour-and-a-half webinar, I know some people have to leave at the top of the hour. So answer this poll question with the CPE keyword, and I will continue answering questions for up to the next half an hour if we need that long to answer questions. So if you can stay, I would encourage you to stay, and I will continue answering questions verbally, and remind you, if you are going to log off, please join me for the other upcoming webinars. December 30th, we're going to talk about adding value to our clients, as well as talk about switching over to value pricing. So I would encourage you to do that. And I will, again, I will hang around for up to about a half an hour. answering some of your additional questions that you've been typing in for Woody. And Woody, if you want to flag things to answer verbally, we can do that as well. But those of you that need to answer the CPE poll question, please do that right now. We've only got about 82% of you voted. If you need CPE credit, now's the time to answer the poll question, even if you're not getting off right now. Even if you're going to hang around for another half an hour for questions, do not think I'm going to do this poll question again. I'm only doing it one time. So if you need CPE credit, answer this CPE poll question now, and that way you will get your CPE credit emailed to you within about 3 weeks. Keep that in mind. Okay, so Woody flagged some questions for me. Thank you, Woody. If the client CPA is not familiar with QuickBooks Online and they don't want to use it, is there a workaround for creating a backup of QBO that he/she can open in desktop? So Lynette, yes, no, maybe, kind of, sort of. How do you like that answer? So theoretically, in the U.S., not in other countries, you can click on the big gear icon and go export data and export that data to QuickBooks Desktop. However, it's not seamless. QuickBooks Online has FIFO inventory. QuickBooks Desktop has average cost. QuickBooks Online has class and location tracking. QuickBooks Desktop only has class tracking, and it may not convert seamlessly. So maybe you could send it back to them, but what I suggest you do instead, use the new trial balance feature that's available under the accountant tools. Map all your accounts, do all your things. You can export that trial balance to Excel, let them import it if they're using something for the taxes or the write-up work. Give them export that file and provide them that, or encourage them to log in. They can at least learn how to run reports in QuickBooks Online. They don't have to learn how to use it, but they should at least be able to log in and access the reports that they need. So good question. Would you know if I can further restrict a client's bookkeeper who enters sales and deposits, but I don't want them to see payroll or bank registers? So Richard, it is more difficult to restrict user permissions in QuickBooks Online versus, like, say, QuickBooks Enterprise. Enterprise gives you a lot of opportunities to restrict access, and not quite so many in QuickBooks Online. I'm sorry, Enterprise does, QuickBooks Online does not. So what a lot of people will do, it's very important for you to make sure they don't see certain things, they will use a third-party app to be able to enter sales and things like that. So they might use a third-party billing app, so those employees only have access to what's available in that app. They can't see anything else. So that's one of the things that you might want to consider. The other thing is to test out the user permissions, what they can see. Like if you set them up as a user and say that they only have access to accounts receivable and you want to see what else they might be able to see, set yourself up as that kind of user, go in and test it out just to kind of see if that might work for you. But using third-party apps is a way that you can also restrict access to only certain features and functionality. Okay, I'm going to look and see how we're doing on that poll question. 90% of you voted, and it's been open for over 4 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and close that poll question. All right, you guys should be back to my screen now, which I'm not really going off the screen right at this moment. I'm kind of looking at questions here. So let me see if I can look at some more of these questions. And Woody, thank you for flagging them. Please explain again how I can streamline posting an employee that goes to the client site, how to monitor their time and work that may have been done. Okay, so you've got employees that are going out and doing computer work on a client. You could use something like T-Sheets. Okay, they can also use the time tracking app in QuickBooks Online to enter their time. You can set them up as a time tracking only user so they can enter their time, and then you can invoice your customers for that. Or you can use something like T-Sheets where they can enter their time as well, and that will import into QuickBooks. So there's a couple of things there that you could do for a couple of options. Somebody said, how do I purge the free account to use for new client for demo? So Gloria, for your free account, I don't recommend that you use that for demo purposes, because in your books, that will be syncing to your client dashboard in QBOA. What I suggest you use for demos for your client is the sample company, the test drive that's available out there. If you just Google QuickBooks test drive, just Google QuickBooks test drive, you will find the sample company, and you can use that to play in, let the client play in, do whatever it is you want to do, and you can use that for demo purposes as well. Is QBOA available in Canada? Yes, Glenn, it's available in Canada and other countries as well. So you can do that. Is there a way to save a customized report to be last month year to date? That's a good question, Frank, and I believe there is under your options. Let me just double check that though. Let me go into my sample company. Also, speaking of the sample company, I told you how to Google QuickBooks Test Drive. From QBOA, you can get into the sample company by clicking the big gear up here on the right and sample company. That will open the QBOA or the QuickBooks Test Drive for you, and you'll have access to your QBOA tools, your accountant tools, when you open it through QBOA Accountant. It does log you out of QBOA when you do that, however. So I'm back here in my sample company under reports. Let's say I wanted to do the profit and loss. Oh, I forgot to turn off. What did I forget to do, everybody? QuickBooks Labs. I forgot to turn off the redesigned reports again. Oops, turn them off. It's not cooperating. It's not okay, so for some reason it's not liking that now. But you could go in there and set the report for last month. The other thing that you can do, and I love this feature, is when you are in a company, let's go back into the sample company here, under your accountant toolbox, there's something called accounting tools, and that are report tools. Under the accountant toolbox, we've got report tools, which will allow you to set the default dates for your reports. So for example, under report tools, if I always want to see last month, or maybe I want to see this month, this year to date, which is what I usually like to see, this year to date. Anytime I create a report, like if I go do the P&L, it's now going to be this year to date. If I do, you know, a detailed transaction account, the dates will be this year to date. So that's a big time saver for us when we're creating reports as well. Okay, so let me get back into my questions. I seem to have lost my questions box, so let me pull that back up, see the rest of your questions here. All right, just 1 second. I'm handicapped. I'm on one monitor today instead of two, so apologize for that. Can you repeat the remote access apps again? You can use, there's lots of them. If you just Google remote access, you'll find lots of them. But some of the main ones are like, I use GoToMeeting quite a bit. You can use LogMeIn. There's also Join, JOIN.me, Join Me as well. Kiva says, are there any Windows 10 issues to be aware of? Well, Kiva, since you're logging in through a browser, there's really no issue with Windows 10 at all because you're logging in through Chrome usually. That's the one we recommend is using Chrome. Somebody says, by the way, you're doing a great job. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's always nice to have good feedback. So thank you, Richard. I appreciate that. I have a question about setting up paralegal services client in QBO. Can you suggest a nice resource? How can we customize the layout of the statements? Is this supported in QBO? You can customize your invoices, your sales receipts, and your estimates. You cannot customize the statement. And if you're setting up a paralegal service client, remember back a while ago at the very beginning under QuickBooks.com, and I showed you under the Accountants Learn and Stuff resources on the, here, let me just show you, because that is a good resource. Let me just show you. Back over here under Accountants.com, I clicked on the Accountants tab. I clicked on Accountants Learn and Support. From there, you're going to click on Moving Clients Online. Moving Clients Online, scroll down to the very bottom, and you're going to see 3 PDFs here, Professional and Field Services. So Paralegal Services, I would go in and download this PDF and take a look at that. It's going to give you good ideas on how that's going to help you with that client that you were just asking about, the paralegal services. So good job. Somebody says, can you briefly explain Google Chrome again? Should you set up different Chrome account? What I'm going to do for you is I'm going to give you a bit.ly link. And I encourage everybody to copy and paste this and go watch it later. What this link is It is a link to a quick YouTube video that I created. I think it went out there. I didn't see it now. Because there's navigating tips and tricks when you're working in QuickBooks, like how do I create this one-click icon bar up here? How do I create the one-click icon bar? How do I create multiple users? I have multiple users in Chrome because I like to have my normal web browsing as my puppy dog user. I have a QBO user, so when I clear my cache and cookies, it does not affect my normal web browsing. And I also have a QBOA user because often when I'm presenting, I'm logged into QBOA over here and I'm logged into the sample company on QBO, so I can be logged into multiple QuickBooks companies as different Chrome users. So in that video, I just posted the link. It's bit.ly/QBO tips, and the capitalization is important. That video goes over various navigating tips and tricks, how to do tabbed browsing, how to do the bookmark bar, the Chrome users is all in that video, and you can share that with your clients as well. So hopefully that will help you. So feel free to do that, share it with your clients as well. Let me see some of these other questions in here. Okay, here's another good question. Do Pro Advisors receive a special listing or priority on a Google search by name? So Richard, the great thing is once you get certified as a Pro Advisor, again, it's free for QuickBooks Online. And so once you're a certified Pro Advisor, you would be listed in the Find a Pro Advisor website. And you need to click a little link that says Make It Public. So in there, make sure you click on Profile, update your profile, and click to make it public. So you're listed on the Find a Pro Advisor website. If someone goes to Google and they Google your name, that Pro Advisor profile often shows up on the first page of the search results because Intuit has, you know, it's a very popular website. It gets like 700,000+ hits a year. It's getting a lot of activity, and so it usually does show up there. So make sure you fill out your Find a Pro Advisor profile and make sure you make it public. You can do that in your Pro Advisor account. Great questions, you guys. You guys are asking lots of great ones, and I'm glad to see a lot of you are still joining me for this. The app for Windows, and what I would suggest you do is uninstall it, reboot your computer, and then reinstall it, re-download and reinstall it, because they have done updates over the last, I don't know, a few weeks or something. And so I would suggest you uninstall it and download so you've got the latest release of that, and hopefully that will be working better for you. Somebody says, I'm using QBOA, I have my free account for my business. However, starting in 2016, I'm changing to a corporation from a sole prop. Will Intuit allow me to back up my old books to the desktop for audit purposes and then create a new account for my corporation with the new name and new EIN? Rebecca, that's a really good question. So basically what you're asking is, can you replace and get another new free account? I really don't know, Rebecca. I would ask you contact support and ask them what they could do or how you might be able to do that to help you out with that aspect. Very good question. Is there a way to document your activities done on behalf of clients? Okay, so Timothy is saying, is there a way to document your activities? So here's a really great thing about QuickBooks Online Accountants, the audit log. When you go into QuickBooks Audit Log, you will see every little thing that was done. When you log in, when you log out, when you edit a product or service, when you add a new report, when you add a new account, when you add transactions, when you change transactions, it will show everything. Did you create a new budget? Did you set up recurring templates, change settings, do a reconciliation, any transactions, any data exchange from third-party apps? Any of these things will show up. So you could come in here and say, show everything that I did this month, and you're going to have a huge audit log of all of the activity out there. So there's all of this activity documenting every little thing you've done. But one of the things that many accounting professionals are doing now is we're getting away from billing hourly. We're not billing hourly. We're saying these are the results that we will give you. Every month we're going to do your bookkeeping, we're going to do your payroll, we're going to do this and that, and all the details of the benefits that you're providing them. What are you doing for them? They don't necessarily care about how you did it. What did you accomplish? When I go in and get my oil changed, I don't give a hoot how long it took them or what they did or how many quarts of what kind of oil or what tools or wrenches they used. Did you change my oil? Is it ready to go now? You know, so a lot of times our clients don't necessarily need to see all of that. So join me on December 30th for webinar number 3 on this Find the Firm of the Future series, and we'll go over some more of that stuff. So also then somebody else has asked here, what's the link to that video again? I'm putting that link, send to all. All right, so it's bit.ly/QBO tips, capital Q, capital B, capital O, capital T, IPS. There's also one, QBO intro, capital QBO and capital I for intro, that gives you like a 15-minute intro and overview to QuickBooks Online. So if somebody's brand new, check that one out as well, and you could share that with your clients again as well. Where do clients access the ProAdvisor listing in QBO? If your clients are in QuickBooks Online, in the home activities, on the home page in the activities feed in the lower right corner, a lot of times it will say, do you need help? And they can click and have a link that takes them into the Find a ProAdvisor website. Are you going to be sending any copy of the training? Yes, you'll get a follow-up email with the link to the recording, I believe, as well as a link to the PowerPoint. Somebody says, I'm getting more spam from the ProAdvisor website than any other clients. Unfortunately, these spammers and these phishers are sending emails saying it's the ProAdvisor website, saying it's Intuit Payroll, saying it's Intuit Merchant Services, saying it's your QuickBooks account. They're saying there are lots of different things, telling you you've got to go sign in. They are phishing for your email information. Whenever you get those, forward them to spoof, S-P-O-O-F, spoof at intuit.com. There's really nothing that Intuit can do that. I see them all the time for things like Adobe and other things as well. So just be careful about that. This is a great question. How hard is it to be ProAdvisor certified or to get certified as a ProAdvisor? It's not very difficult. It's a 5-part test. Each part has 15 multiple choice questions, so it's not overly long. You can take the training materials in an online webinar. You also can log into your ProAdvisor account and access recordings there, as well as manual PDF manuals that you can refer to, a supplemental guide. And it is open book, so you can refer to your guides while you're working on it. You can open up QuickBooks in another tab or another browser and go in and double check. Like if you say, well, I think the answer is C, but I can't remember exactly how to do it in QuickBooks, you can go look and double check yourself. So it's not overly difficult to get certified as a ProAdvisor. Now the advanced certification, that thing's a booger. It's hard. It's not easy and it's not going to be fast, but it's very well worth it. You can expect to spend probably 4 to 6 hours per module on the advanced certification, and it's 5 modules. So it's going to take, 20, 30, maybe 40 hours for the advanced certification, but it's definitely passable and it's worthwhile because once you get advanced certified, you'll be listed at the top, not at the top, but near the top of the Find a ProAdvisor search results. It helps you get more referrals and more new clients, and it helps differentiate yourself. And we'll talk some more about that again in Becoming the Trusted Advisor webinar that's the 30th. I don't want to work with desktop anymore. Can I still be a ProAdvisor if I cancel that? I want to concentrate on QBO. Yes, you can. There's lots of people who are doing that now. I don't accept any more desktop clients either. So there is a ProAdvisor program that is free for QuickBooks Online only. So you can get the online certification and training and things like that, but not desktop. You got to pay if you want the desktop certification and all that stuff. So let's see. Somebody keeps saying they don't see the link to the YouTube. It's a bit.ly link. It's not a YouTube link. And I'm going to post it again. Look in the questions. Let me just go ahead and copy this. Look in the questions. It's bit.ly/QBO tips. Let me see if I can get into the chat and send that to everyone just to be safe. It's not a YouTube link, though. It's a bit.ly link. So maybe that's why some of you aren't seeing it there. All right. We still have time for about 10 more questions. let's see. Somebody said, let's see, I've decided to download a new browser to use. Where did that go? I just scrolled and I lost it. I'm sorry, hold on just a second. Oh my goodness, it took me all the way to the top of them. I didn't want to do that. Are there any study materials for the advanced exam? I only see take exam. Click on the advanced exam and it will open and you'll see the study and training materials below that. So you'll see that there. Somebody said, I'm a pro advisor, but I want to take the same training again. Can you take it again? Yes, you can. Ken, there's two different if you want to take it again. You can access the recording and do the self-paced training module, or you can sign up for the webinar and listen to the webinar again if you'd like to do that. Do we have to get certified each year? Yes, you do. You need to get certified every year and renew that certification every 365 days. So just keep that in mind. Someone to recommend to enter and review some data and advise. Richard, there's lots of other pro advisors that you could reach out to if you need some help with specific clients or specific situations. But don't forget that as a pro advisor, you get pro advisor support. Maybe there's something that they could help you with out there. Is there a QBO sample company for an HVAC contractor? There's just one sample company. It's not for individual types of industries or types of clients. So very good. Somebody says, how do I switch my client from desktop to online? I'm going to encourage you to watch the webinar #1 from this series because that was recorded and that's available for you to check that out. So again, under additional resources, you've got Accountants University, which has those training resources that I mentioned earlier. It also has the webinars and things like that. And then also you can ask questions in the LinkedIn group or in the QB Power Hour Facebook group. Both of those are good resources for questions, as well as the webinar series with the Power Hour. We cover additional topics on desktop and online every other Thursday. So last week we did part 1 where I talked about how to get on the cloud, how to convert your clients to QuickBooks Online. That was recorded. You should be able to find those on the Intuit Academy YouTube channel, and I'll try to get that posted on my YouTube channel as well, Michelle Long CPA. So you can watch that one on converting your clients. Again, today we talked about streamlining our workflows. Next week we're going to talk about becoming a trusted advisor. We're going to talk more about the Pro Advisor program, the certification, and some of those things, how to add value for your clients and move to value pricing. Then on part 4, January 15th, we're going to talk about social media and tips and tools to help manage social media, get out there and maximize some of these things online. Make sure that you know how to network and create referrals online as well as connecting with your clients as well. So make sure you sign up. If you have not registered for the others, you do need to register for each one of them individually. So I'm going to encourage you to register for webinars 3 and 4 as well. So somebody says, can you post the link for the QBOA desktop app? Mike, if you go to apps.com, and then just search desktop, and you should be able to find that quick and easy there. Somebody says where to register. Go to firmofthefuture.com. Scroll down to the bottom. So firmofthefuture.com, scroll to the bottom and you'll see it talk about a webinar series. Go ahead down there and register. Choose the date for December 30th and January 15th. So you'll need to do it twice and register for both of those upcoming webinars. Love to have you guys joining me for that. So that would be fabulous. Somebody says, do you receive an email to get certified again, or just remember when the 12 months are up? You do need to remember when your 12 months are up. So I usually set a calendar reminder a month prior so that I'll go ahead and put it on my calendar so that when that comes around, I will remember that. Okay, you guys have been fabulous. One last question, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut us off here. Is there an advanced certification in Canada? Yes, there is. There is an advanced certification in Canada now. So you can get advanced certified as well. So I want to thank you guys for joining me. There's still hundreds of you on this webinar, so thank you for hanging in to the bitter end. I'm going to get back down there for this LA crew. I got to relieve MB and cover some stuff for them. So thank you guys for joining us. I hope to see you in a week or two, December 30th and January 15th. Thanks so much for joining me. Thanks, Woody, for earlier answering questions, and Wendy and Intuit. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you all later. Bye.